So in this segment, we're going to be talking about a few different things here. There's a lot to get through, a lot of tabs, so just bear with me on this one. We're going to be talking about lockdown, the rules, the leaks, and press briefings, and a lot of other things to do with the lockdown and other issues to do with the lockdown as well. So let's talk about the rules first. So there's a bit of contradiction here. No household mixing indoors in private gardens unless you're in a support bubble. So if you do get caught at someone's house, you can try and argue you're in a support bubble. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how much in terms of legs that's going to have. But it's up to you. What you're going to do, and if you don't follow the rules and get caught out and you get fined, then that's on you. So staying at home and seeing people, you should only stay at home for educate. You should only stay at home. So that's a bit weird. You should only basically go out except for education, work if it can't be done from home, exercise, medical reasons, shopping for essentials, or to care for others. Households must not mix with other people indoors or in private gardens. That's important because obviously a lot more sort of richer and more suburban people have private gardens. I have, private garden, obviously. So you can't do that. You can meet one person from outside your household in an outdoors public space, so like a park or something like that. Children under 5 don't count, so you can take more than one kid under 5, I guess. Support bubbles for people who live alone and single parent households can continue. So say if you want to meet your friend who lives alone or is a single parent, you can go see them to help them if they need help. Support groups of 15 or fewer people are allowed, including those for new parents or recovering from addictions. So that's what I'm saying there. It's a bit iffy. It's a good rule. I mean, if you have an addiction problem and you're in lockdown, especially if you're like a gambling addict or a drug addict, that will really help you rather than being alone and dealing with things. Children can move between homes if they're separated. So Boris can go see all his kids that he has with other women. Informal childcare support bubbles for children aged 13 or under can continue. It is possible to visit a friend or family in care homes as long as COVID secure measures are put in place, such as the use of floor-to-ceiling screens, visiting pods, and arranging outdoor or window visits. That's good. Because we had problems with visiting people in care homes if your relative lives in one. So going to work or school, schools, nurseries, colleges and universities will remain open. Staff and pupils at secondary schools year 7 and above must wear coverings. Childminders, nannies can continue to provide childcare because obviously you don't want to have your rich buddies not have their childminders or nannies around. Students who live at university must not return to their permanent home until the end of term. So if you're a uni student, you're stuck. Workplaces can stay open if people continue to work from home, including construction and manufacturing. I've seen a lot of construction workers not wear masks, so I don't know what the rules are for construction workers, but that's going to be a cause of a spread. Manufacturing the same. We have the same problem in Northampton with Greencore, who make like sandwiches and wraps and stuff. With things like distancing and meeting after work and things like that. And I guess their point being is why can I go to work and mingle with people because you can't social distance, but then when I go outside I can't do that. It's a bit weird. I get those arguments. Those who are clinically vulnerable are advised not to go to work if they can't work from home, so they should be furloughed. Then they should be given at least furlough money if they are advised not to go to work, because otherwise they're going to have to go to work. Exercise, you can do outdoor exercise on your own or with one other person, but grassroots team sports aren't allowed, like football and stuff. As long as you follow the rules above, you can exercise outside as much as you want, so there's no limits on how many walks you can take. Outdoor playgrounds can remain open, but they can be a problem because they're going to be sanitized, so you have surface contact COVID. There's loads of rules here. You can feel free to pause it at some point because I don't want to go through all of these. I'm going to be here all day. Can you still move house and stuff? Read that in your own time. But the rules are you should only really go out if you have to, like before. You can meet one other person if you live alone. If you need support from people, friends, family members, they can come over. I would advise if you're going to visit people, just wear a mask and just try and keep distance as much as possible, and don't eat food at their house. So we'll go. Boris Johnson launches the nuclear option he swore to avoid. There are issues with some of the lockdown data used as well. So if we look here, it's claimed here by Public Health England that the forecasts for the deaths are going to be around over 4,000, and this is a number that a lot of Conservative MPs are citing right now. Obviously, this is a problem because I don't know where Public Health England got these forecasts from. I have no clue. But the deaths at the moment, according to the FT, is about 293 deaths in the UK. Obviously those numbers are climbing, those numbers are bad, but this number here is out. This one here from Imperial College London, this is another one. I mean, maybe they're based on the fact that if we didn't do anything or if certain lockdowns weren't adhered to, I don't know. All of these numbers here, LSHTM, I have no idea who that is. And you've got the most accurate number looks to be the lowest one, which is LSHTM or Warwick. They're saying deaths are going to go down, but that's dependent on the lockdown rules. The reasonable worst case scenario, you're talking probably about 800 deaths per day into January. Right now, it's in the low hundreds. Obviously, I'm not saying it's not that bad. It's pretty bad. Right now we're looking at around 269 deaths per day average. So it's not great. It's very bad at the moment. But the numbers look a bit flawed. The lockdown's been put into measure. So it's that Skepta shutdown meme here. So if we carry on, there's all the rules and stuff. Schools. We'll talk about the other problems with the lockdown and the fact that there hasn't been enough help financially to certain people. Obviously, the furlough scheme is great, but if we talk about the leaks now, you can see that Number 10 has launched an official leak inquiry, and originally a lot of people thought it's Cummings. I thought it's Dominic Cummings, and that's why these people are mad about this. But allegedly, it could be Michael Gove. So. There were only a few people in that meeting when they talked about lockdown. So you had Cabinet Minister Michael Gove. So he's a busybody. He's just there to help people or hinder people, whatever Gove wants to do, because he's a maniac. So you had Bojo the Wonder Clown, Rishi Sunak, and Matt Hancock, and you had Gove. That makes 4, and most likely Cummings was there. That makes 5. So you had 5 people there, right? And the details were reported in the Times, but it was also reported in the Mail. And do you know who works for the Daily Mail? Sarah Vine. So his wife. So it's very possible he could have leaked it to his wife or said something by accident. Who knows? But it's very much looking like it's Michael Gove, which is very strange. So it's just interesting. These are the leaks here. How to turn your glutes. Good luck with that. So national lockdown noon. So this was from the 31st of October, which was last week. It was Saturday, and that's when we first heard about this lockdown potentially happening. And shambles, government announcing a lockdown in the Daily Mail on a Friday night is shambolic. So these are, you're talking about the leaks here. In March they could have saved 20,000 lives by locking down 1 week earlier. This time, to be really sure, to defend the title of the worst COVID response in Europe, our groundhog government has left it 6 weeks too late, and they might not have done so without these leaks happening. If you look at this picture here, this is when Sage recommended the lockdown, and this is where we are now. So read into that what you will. And the problem with the leaks is that somehow Robert Peston found out before the briefing even happened. This was about, at least I think the press briefing was about 6:45, right? This came out from Peston about 3:43 p.m. right? And you can see, and he's written this whole thing out before he's hit send, right? Because he's written a very long thread out. So why is it that Robert Peston knew before anyone else, before even Parliament knew? And if we look here, where's that tweet gone? Common Speaker Lindsay Hoyle has already warned Boris Johnson that major government announcements should be made in the House. Yet our cowardly, grossly negligent and absent Prime Minister continues to do this. And the fact is, someone is leaking this to press. Somehow, Peston's got all the details of the lockdown. This is wild. Like, why is it that specific journalists are being briefed on this? And isn't it Peston's job to hold the powerful accountable? Yet he's a spokesperson for the Conservative Party. Essentially, that's what his job is. The same with Koonsberg. And another problem is, with financial support, why is it that Manchester was lowballed? Why was Manchester lowballed and not given the 80% furlough? And they were offered 67%. Clearly, when it's the North, the Conservative government doesn't care. And if you voted for the Conservative government in the North, I bet you're feeling really stupid now. But we go to our next thing, where we talk about, this is what the government do. They offer you the big number, but when you divide it up amongst people, you realise it's quite small. So if we look at this, right, and we get the old calculator out, so we've got 32 million, yeah, which is that, and you've got 2.24 million clinically extremely vulnerable people, right? So we divide that by the 2.24 million, right, which should be that, right, and you get about 14 quid per person. That's not going to do a lot. Honestly, that's about 14 quid per person. So if all of the people that are clinically ill, let's have a look here, extremely vulnerable, that actually need help, if all of them need help, or the vast majority need help, that money's going to do very little. And here they hit you with a big 32 million. You think that's a lot of money, isn't it? You divide it by people. No, it's not. No, it's not. So that's a problem with schools. It should be here something with supply teachers. Head teachers would need help to pay for supply teachers, because obviously if your teachers have to self-isolate or are ill or have to shield because they're vulnerable, which a lot of teachers are because they're old, some of them anyways, they need money for supply teachers. Where's that money coming from? It's not here. This is why this lockdown was not planned properly. That they didn't think of how much money vulnerable people would need. They didn't have any. They didn't plan for how many supply teachers would be needed, and this is what makes this a shambles. That they rushed this out, and potentially, if Michael Gove or whoever this was, right, say it wasn't Gove, right, didn't leak this, then we would still be under the same system that we had before, the tiered system, which wasn't properly working. I know they cite Liverpool as an example of cases falling under the tier 3 system, but that's one study. We need to look at the other cities and the other places and figure out why is it Liverpool that's falling and maybe not other places, because at the moment the cases numbers are still rising. They're still rising. It's flattening out now, but it's still rising, and you need to wait 2 weeks to see the effectiveness of anything. So yeah, lockdown shambles, a lack of help for disabled people, a lack of help for other people, and Conservatives voting against this, this lockdown. Talking about, we need to see the economic impact. Where was that energy when kids needed help? When your government has stopped people being able to support themselves properly, right? When you did benefit cuts and stagnant wages, where was that energy when kids and other people needed help? But instead, you got that energy for big business. When you talk about, it's safe to go back to the offices. Why? Because these offices are owned by rich people who rent them out to other big companies, and they make money off those rents. They can't make money off the rents if there's no tenant. Honestly, this government's a shambles. Why are you lowballing Manchester? Why are you doing this? Why did you lowball Manchester? I don't understand. Where is the support for small businesses as well? That's what I want to know. Because last time it was a joke. Where's the business help for the self-employed? They're the people that the Conservatives go and say they want to help. They want to help the small business owner, the self-employed person, the person who's the entrepreneur, the one who wants to make it, in life, the one who works hard. Where's their support, huh? But you got time for big business, innit? Absolute clowns. Shambles. That's what I call this lockdown. Shambles. So I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.